Come and take a look inside our home on wheels.
Hi, we're Andrew and Max, and this is Riley, our 2011 Land Rover Defender that we've converted into our full-time home on wheels.
So this is basically what we're going to be living in for at least the next year around Australia. Why are we doing this, you're probably asking as well. We're originally from New Zealand, both of us. We've travelled around New Zealand as much as we probably could. We've done it in vans, rooftop tents, four-wheel drives. Probably seen as much as we really could have. So now that we're living in Australia, we kind of want to do the same thing over here. So hence why we've converted this Defender.
It's been a chaotic couple months. In our last video, we showed us getting prepared to move into it, but we're now actually living in Riley full-time. We've had a few changes to the build over the last couple of weeks while we've actually been living into it.
Bit of an adjustment period,
Yeah.
but what works, what doesn't, you know, it's a given, you know, considering it's such a small space we are living in.
So now what you're seeing is the final build, at least for the next couple months.
Yeah.
We are really, really excited to be able to show you guys around. But we know why you're here, so we'll stop talking and we'll actually get into it now.
The first thing I'm going to touch on before we get to the fun stuff inside and obviously the roof conversion is the colour. Now you'll see in the last video, or if you haven't watched it you should go watch it, but I was not sold on it at all. I was very skeptical whether we made the right decision or not. I can assure you now we both love it. I couldn't think of a better colour for it now as well. This ARB actually came with it. Considering we are going around Australia and there's a lot of wildlife around, it's pretty essential, so it kind of just protects the front of the truck. The other thing the truck also came with was the winch. Now we haven't had to use it yet, hopefully we don't have to. The steady lights that we have on the front, now they're kind enough to send these out to us. So we're pretty stoked about that. We don't know how many kind of late arrivals we're going to be doing to camp or early missions we're going to do in the morning. So I think having some spotlights on is pretty key. The standard lights for Defenders, you know, like a candle, that are not amazing. So we definitely needed them. So hiding in the corner is the UHF aerial mount. It's not on at the moment because we just haven't really needed it up. But we do have it, so when we are in the outback or, you know, going through some bush with some friends, we can still communicate when there's no service around. Before we do jump to the back, I'll quickly touch on the tyres that we're using. You wouldn't believe it, but it was about 4 or 5 days into our trip and one of our tyres completely exploded on the highway, which wasn't ideal. So we have worked with Toyo Tyres over in New Zealand. So we quickly messaged them because it happened on a Thursday night. So luckily they got back to us on the Friday and were kind enough to hook us up with a full set of Toyo all-terrains, which we are absolutely loving, and we definitely wouldn't have been able to get around with anything but these. Now that we're at the back of the truck, I will touch on a couple things that you can't see. So we have a long-range fuel tank installed, which was already in there when we first bought the truck. So basically it just means we don't have to carry a jerry can of fuel when we're traveling around. Now the other thing is we have Helperman airbags installed in the rear of the truck, which is essentially an airbag that lives inside the rear coil in the suspension. It's predominantly used for when you're towing heavy loads, so the suspension doesn't go really flat and saggy or bottom out. But considering, you know, the amount we have in this, we also have those, which again came with the truck when we first bought it. Just inflate it on the back of the truck. The number one thing that we probably had no idea how useful it would actually be is this tie bag from Exmoor Trim. This holds a lot more than you think you'd realize. So I'll open it up and then you can kind of see what we actually use it for. So starting with what's at the very top of the bag is our hose and our Nomad water purifier. The number one thing that we were kind of told before we even started traveling was that you need a water filter. A lot of places you go have pretty bad water, so this means that you can literally filter water from anywhere. Most of the time we actually fill up at petrol stations, but even then the water quality can be pretty poor, so we just use it for everything. So the other thing that's living in here is our hose and power plug for our on-tap shower. Now that is this jerry can right here. Because we are in effectively a rooftop tent slash roof conversion, it means that we are staying at Freedom campsites. So majority of the time they don't have any showers available. They do, they're cold. So having the shower is actually a lifesaver for us because it means we actually have hot water wherever we go. I'd say we probably get around 4 showers out of our on tap, which is pretty good. I mean, that's at least for a few days, because I mean, if you're into this lifestyle, you're not showering every day. We did have a Julka before we actually started packing the truck, but as we kind of started filling it up, we realized that it actually wasn't going to fit anywhere. So we ended up getting this on tap instead, and it is probably a hell of a lot more useful for the lifestyle we're living, at least. It's a lot easier to use, it's quicker to set up, and it basically just heats itself up. So the other thing that we have in here, which is probably the biggest thing I think you kind of need if you are traveling around, is a little pop-up toilet. Now, it's not something you want to use. It's for emergencies, really, especially at most of the sites we go to. There's at least a long drop, but this basically means that we don't have to basically in a bush, which, you know.
Sorry, I can't. I cannot.
So yeah, it's not a glamorous thing, but it just means that we actually have security in terms of having a toilet on board. Now, everything else that is in here is basically just like our rubbish bags, our wetsuits, and anything else like dirty laundry, miscellaneous stuff. It is deceptively large, so we have a lot in it, and I don't know where everything would have gone if we didn't have this bag. Our roof conversion is easily our favourite part of this entire build that we have no regrets on in the slightest. If you're thinking or even considering doing a roof conversion yourself, I highly recommend getting a Headspace camper because they are elite. This video is not sponsored, by the way. We just absolutely love this product. There's a lot of options on the market, whether it's a roof conversion, a rooftop tent, but the amazing thing about the roof conversion is it goes up in about 30 seconds. It takes no time at all. Even if it's raining, you know that you're going to be super dry really quickly. We also love that it's all internal. There's no ladder on the outside or anything like that, because we didn't want to be restricted to getting inside and then we're in a small space. We just wanted a big open space inside, not worry about the weather outside because we didn't have to get out to actually go to bed. Something that every Headspace camper does come with are these little circle things, which are basically touch sensitive lights, which are insanely good. They're also wired into your doors, so then when you do open your doors, they come on automatically as well. There are two little latches at the end of the bed, which is almost like a his and hers latch. As you sleep with your head at the other end, it means that you can use it for storage for your clothes in the morning, your laptop if you're watching Netflix at night, all that kind of stuff. So it means that this basically just pulls down just like that, and you can someone can store stuff up there, I can still sit here, do whatever I need to, and Max, while she's still sleeping, because she sleeps in, her stuff's there. I think that's enough of downstairs. Let's actually get upstairs and see where we sleep and how much headroom the Headspace gives you. Let's go! And welcome to where we have our bedroom. So this is obviously where we sleep upstairs, and it is a crazy amount of space that we actually have up here. On the back here, we've got these huge storage pockets that house everything we could even imagine. Couldn't be more stoked about. Are these USB ports. So there's effectively a his and hers USB charging port, which we can just charge our phones overnight. Touring Australia, especially in the summer months, it's almost impossible to escape any heat, especially when you're doing van life. So one of the things that was a non-negotiable for us as soon as we saw the option to have these in our conversion, these little 12-volt fans. So they charge off the USB ports that we have up here, but you don't actually have to have them plugged in while you're using them. There's been multiple times we've had them on all night and they've been perfectly fine, and we've even had them going through for a second night and they held charge amazing. But when they do go flat, you literally just plug it into the USB port and then you're pretty set and you can run it as long as you really need. When Ollie makes these conversions, he actually uses the original Defender roof, which means you still get to keep the window that comes in the roof factory. Because that window is there, we actually have the mud stuff blackout curtains. So we have actually put them up there just so we kind of don't get woken up too early in the morning, since I think sunrise is like 5:30 or something at the moment. So we'd like to sleep in a little bit. The conversion actually has complete blackout blinds. So when it isn't just the mesh like we have now, it's completely blackout, so no sunlight at all can actually get through it. The mattress that comes with these conversions is a 75mm memory foam. We slept on this mattress when we were moving out of our apartment, just on the floor, so I do rate them. I think Max rates them just as much as me. As well as the memory foam mattress that you get with the conversion, it also comes with 2 other cushions that go over the hatch covers. Having those hatch covers there means that you obviously get a lot more space as the bed. It's essentially a double size at the moment, so putting those extra cushions just extends the bed of that a little bit more. I'm 6'2" and I can easily stand up here, no problem at all. Max and I both get changed up here because it's actually easier to get changed up here than it is downstairs. And this is something that I'd say a lot of conversions don't quite have the room. One of the main reasons we have chosen to go with headspace is purely the amount of standing room you do get up top.
Now that you've seen how much fun it can be upstairs with the roof conversion, I'm going to show you how the space transforms in all of 2 seconds when the roof's popped up. So all we need to do is literally lift up the headspace just like this, and we've got so much more space downstairs. Now, why we love our downstairs area is we can use it as a lounge, we can use it as a spare bedroom, we can use it as an office, an extra kitchen station, and I'm going to show you how we do it. The closet area is something that has required a lot of compromise between Andrew and I, but we settled on having a closet area here, and we also have one storage bag that we keep in the front bay when we are stationary or in the back when we're driving, which just like has our shoes, our jackets, the extra bits and bobs that can't fit in here. So ladies and men, this isn't our only closet area. All we need to do is literally lift up our closet like so, and it has all our clothes in here in little storage cubes. We searched high and low for the right storage cubes for us, and I do have one piece of advice, and that is don't cheap out and get Kmart storage cubes because they rip on the side. Spend a little bit more money and get different ones if you can afford to, because it makes such a difference. Majority of our storage bags are our Bag Smart bags that we literally just got off Amazon, and they're great because they're compression bags, so we can really fit as much as we can in these bags and tuck them into our closet. We probably fit about 50% of our original wardrobe that we have at home. Mind you, that is an all seasons wardrobe that we had back in Sydney. So what we can fit in here is really the essentials, and we've had to cut it down to about 1 or 2 of everything, besides our intimates that we keep multiple of for obvious reasons. So once we're done with the closet, we literally just close it up, and it's a great little countertop for us if we're just chilling, we want to have our laptop up, or we just want to have our bits and bobs on here. It's a really nice flat surface for us to use. Usually an inside area of the home is known as the man cave, but I like to call this Moo's cave because I usually take over it in the morning. I get my emails done, my work done, and I just pop this little side table up here, have my coffee, have my brekkie while Andy does everything he needs to do outside or gets the truck set up for us to move on to our next location. As 2 creatives that work on the road, we're both working off our laptops all the time. So what that means is our downstairs working area really needs to feel like it's comfortable, otherwise we won't want to work in it, and we need to work. So one of the reasons why we love our build so much is we've got our gullwing window here, which allows for beautiful indoor and outdoor flow.
We do love it.
And I'll be honest, when we were first thinking of doing our build, I was like, we don't need a gullwing window, and Andrew, of course, convinced me otherwise, and I'm so glad that we've got it now. This gullwing was just from Headspace as well. There are a few options out there on the market, but this one worked perfect for us, and it meant we could get it installed when we got our roof installed, which just saved on time, so we're not complaining about that. Now, moving on to our desk area. Essentially what this piece of wood here is our bed base as well as our desk. So it's multifunctional and it avoids it feeling like a cluttered space. So we love that we can have it here. All we need to do is pull this little piece of wood out here, and while we're getting the desk set up, we literally can just rest it here, which means there's more space for us to get in and out and do things we need. These are the legs that we use for our desk, and when we first moved into the build, we were like, oh, we'll just keep them in the drawer. Less eyesore, but we use it every day, so we just decided to hide it under our little blanket so we don't need to look at them. But it's really simple to set up. You just glide it through here. Usually I'm a bit of a klutz, so it takes a few takes, but we just lock it in there, and we just get our second leg bit here and pop it in like so, and you can kind of lock it in just to make sure that it's nice and stable, but we usually swivel it around because, well, I'll show you in a minute why. All we do is just pull out our desk bit here. Keep in mind we can actually still set it up when it's raining. We just like to do it when the gullwing's open because less wood, less hazards flying around. So we just get this little end bit here, and we're gonna line it up to there, move it on in, and hey presto, you have yourself a desk. The cool thing about the swivel desk is we can actually make it level to sit flush here, so that if Andrew's over here or I'm over here, we've got a long enough desk that we can both have our arms comfortably and work away. It seems like a really small detail, but it makes such a big difference, especially in a small space. So all we need to do is just move this little one around. What we love about it is because we're always on the go, say Andrew gets up to take a work call, or I'm just chilling and I want to go up and fill up my water bottle outside, all we need to do is actually just swivel the desk around like that, and we don't have to change things around. It's not like musical chairs inside. We can just move out comfortably without taking everything off the desk. It seems like such a small and insignificant feature, but honestly, the smallest details can make the biggest difference in a small space. So we absolutely love this desk, and I'm going to show you how we use it as our bed as well. Now, just like you might have a pull-out bed or a pull-out couch at home, we also have the same feature in our Defender. Essentially what we do is just grab our backrest cushions and we place them down here to make a full bed, so I'm going to show you how it's done. The one thing about this though is there are some companies that do foam cutting and the covers custom to your Defender or your van or whatever it looks like. For us, we ended up getting the covers cut and done with a beautiful lady off Marketplace. Shout out to Facebook Marketplace. We got the fabric chosen from Spotlight, and from there we were just able to create a look and feel that we love, because sometimes it can be a little bit limited when you are getting it done from one company. So we decided to do two, but you definitely can get it cut and covered at the same place. This is our little desktop that we just showed you here, and essentially we're going to pop this up and make a bed out of it. We just keep this little piece of wood hidden. We can just shove it under here when we're not using it during the day, but this is the key to making sure that the bed is comfortable. So what we're going to do is slide in this little part of the wooden couch that we keep hidden, and then moving on to the top of the desk, which we showed you before. This makes up majority of the bed, so we just slide that in like so, and then we add the cushions over the top, and then the bed is done. If we sleep downstairs and someone's sleeping upstairs or vice versa, how do we keep it black out? These have been an absolute game changer. You literally just stick it to the side of each of the windows and it keeps it black out. We have had a few friends stay downstairs already, so it's perfect if we're visiting people or they want to come along for an adventure. It means we don't have to have them sleep in a swag outside. They can literally stay inside with us, and there's plenty of room for everybody. We're first testing out the truck. We did notice that it was quite uncomfortable with the two of us sleeping downstairs. We literally have to sardine next to each other here to make sure that nobody's getting an interrupted sleep because of the fridge here. But unfortunately with the Defenders there is compromise, and that's just a part of it. What we do love though is downstairs we've got our 12-volt plugs, and we've also got our little USB ports that live here. So whether we're chilling downstairs for fun, working away, we can actually plug everything in and charge it nicely, which we absolutely love having, because God knows when you've only got one charger in the car and you both need a charge, it is not a fun time arguing over who can charge their phone first. This little top cabin here is actually where we just keep our non-slip mat. During the day we keep our Starlink up here. The great thing about this is when I'm standing up inside, say it's raining outside, this countertop we can actually prepare food on, so we can do it all inside as well. Or when we're chilling downstairs, just hanging out, it's nice to have a little area besides here to put your belongings, because if you're changing into your pajamas and you're lifting this up, you literally have to move everything off it to access what you need. So we just like to keep it up here. One other thing downstairs is we have this little hidden cubby here. Nothing too exciting in here, I promise, but essentially we just lift it up and pop it to the side, and in here lives all the little battery ports for the electronics for the chargers here. Don't ask me too much about it, I don't know enough about electronics. Andrew's going to cover that later on in this video, but that's just where that lives down there, so it's a nice little countertop that never really moves. Now one might be thinking, is that all the storage you really have? And the answer is no, it's not. Here, when the bed's pulled out like this, there's plenty of storage room under here. So like I said, if we've got friends staying or we're sleeping downstairs, it's a really nice cavity to just store all the bits and bobs that you don't want to see. But when we are sleeping upstairs and this area isn't in use, We've got plenty of storage underneath the couch that we managed to get built in, which is an absolute game changer for all the tools, the things I don't want to see, things we don't use every single day. So all we need to do is literally just lift this up here, and we literally just pull these up here. When you live in a really small space, it's really important to make sure that it feels cozy and it reminds you of home. So we've added 2 different things on the back area here just to add a little bit more personality into the back of the truck. Now, I can't take credit for this. We have seen it on another travel couple's Instagram and vlogs, and it is a little map here. So it's just a nice little memento for us to see where we are and to also show our friends and family where we are on the map. We've just got like a nice little homely touch to the back of the truck here. We've also added the wooden timber feature here. Now, the back of the truck before had this ugly black plastic, and looking at it every day just wasn't a vibe. So we wanted to make sure that we had a nice flat surface so we can add Polaroids, film, pictures, anything we like we can add to the back here. So that is a work in progress. At the moment she's blank, but that makes it even more fun for what we're going to do next. We'll take you along to the storage drawer now. This is a lot bigger than it seems, and it holds a lot more than you think it would. It comes all the way out, and it literally just lives under our couch here. This has everything we need, from our toiletries through to our ropes, random bits like pegs that you don't want to see every day, drills, tools, you name it, it lives in this drawer. Andrew and I have absolutely loved having our toiletry bags in here because in a small space you don't want it floating around the front, but they honestly pack such a punch. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because so many things make a difference when you're traveling, and this is one of them. So when we have a shower outside, when we pop up our on tap, we literally just hang it up here, and we each have our own bag which has all our goodies in them, and we can just work from there, grab what we need, have a shower, and put it away when we're done. So yeah, I just wanted to show this little feature because I know a lot of travelers will find these so helpful. If you've been watching our channel from the start, you will know just how important a good kitchen setup was to me. Andrew cared, but definitely not as much as I do because I absolutely love cooking. So ensuring that we had a good kitchen setup was crucial for me enjoying our travels. So I'll show you what it looks like. Starting with the obvious, we have our 65 litre Bushman fridge freezer. We debated this for honestly endless hours. Do we want a chest fridge freezer? Do we just want a freezer? 65, 55, 75, what do we go for? But we landed up with a 65 litre, and honestly for the two of us it's been really, really good so far. Popping it open here, it's a little bit messy, I'm not gonna lie, but we can comfortably fit between 2 to 5 days of food depending on where we are and what we're cooking over that duration of time. We found that the freezer element has absolutely worked for us. A lot of people say that the freezer doesn't actually freeze on a lot of the fridge freezers, but we haven't had that issue. Fingers crossed it doesn't change when summer really ramps up, but we absolutely love it and it has all the storage space that we need. So chef's kiss from me. Moving on to the fun stuff. This is our kitchen drawer. It's broken into 2 main parts. So we have our main kitchen cabin over here. We usually just use this. I'll show you the second half soon. This is our Dometic 2-burner here. It essentially houses 2 different burner elements, so whatever we're cooking, we can cook in more than one space. Luckily for me, we managed to sneak a spice rack in here. Definitely not as glamorous as the one we had at home, but it does its job. And now for the fun stuff. It literally extends all the way out. So this is where we store our key pantry essentials in here. We've got all our kitchen utensils and all our dried goods in here, which just makes life super easy knowing where everything lives. And you can actually also use this as a cutting board, which is really nice. But to be honest, we don't actually do that too much because we've already got another cutting board that we use. We don't just have one pantry, but instead we have 2. And although it's nowhere near as big as our one in Bondi was and filled with as many goods, it definitely does the job for what we're doing at the moment. So in here we keep our pastas and rices, everything that we can't really fit in this one over here. But we also keep our prized possession, which is our coffee machine in here, as well as a few other bits that we don't want floating loose around the truck. So again, this can double as a chopping board if we need it to, but usually we don't, and it just keeps a nice little cover for us when we are cooking out here. Now, you're probably wondering, if they're cooking, where are they doing the dishes? And I can tell you that we definitely do our dishes. What we do is just push our little drawer back away here, and we head to our kitchen area and pull out our sink. When we first had our build completed, the sink actually lived behind here, but we found it was way too niggly for us to actually do our dishes behind here. So luckily we had some tools in the back and we managed to move it to the front here, which just makes a lot more sense for us and the build. So once we've popped it in our little nook there, all we do is grab our pop-up sink, push it out, stick it in, and we can do our dishes. Now that our kitchen's pushed away, we can show you what's around our kitchen area. It is a little bit of a mess, but it's organized chaos, we promise. Under here we keep all our Zerali chairs. These are perfect when we're camping out on the go. They're just nice to live under here. And we also keep our Dometic hose because our gas burner only works with one of these. So unfortunately we just have to live with that, and we keep that tucked away there. Another thing we always have handy is our Zerali fireplace. This pop-up fireplace is something I'm so excited to use, but unfortunately we haven't actually been able to use it yet because there's a fire ban in Queensland. Hopefully next year, when everything chills out a little bit, we'll be able to use it and I can cook outside on it, which I'm really, really excited for. As you can probably see here, we also keep our battery solar box thing here. I don't really understand what that is.
What battery system do we use? Great question. Now, I won't go into too much detail because I don't know an awful lot about batteries. Max may have said I know a lot about batteries before. However, it might not be the case. In terms of the battery system that we are running, we've got a 200 amp lithium battery, and with that we use a 2000 watt inverter to charge kind of everything we need. We've got camera batteries, drone batteries, laptops. Max and I work kind of 24/7, so it's pretty essential for that. Now 2000 watt could be deemed as a bit overkill for us. The main reason why we chose to actually go for 2000 watt is for a couple of reasons. One is we have Starlink, and that drains quite a lot of our battery, and the other is Max, she needs to dry hair all the bloody time.
Okay, let me come in and explain, because I feel
Here we go.
the ladies at home will understand, all the men. Dried hair. If you don't dry your hair, it goes buffy. We're creatives taking photos. If I don't have cute hair,
Yep.
we don't have cute photos.
You make a point.
Thanks
Anyway,
for coming to my TED Talk. Goodbye.
now let's just clear that up. But it just means that we have the option to actually use a blender and all these little electronics that use quite a lot of power in a short period of time. Now to charge it, we also have a 160 watt solar panel that lives on our roof. But when it isn't sunny for a while, like it has been the last few days to be honest, when we're driving along, our battery system also charges up our main battery that we use, so we're usually pretty safe. One of the big non-negotiables we had for our entire build was having a big awning. Now the fact that our kitchen does slide out completely out of this drawer means that we're in the elements, whether it's the sun or the rain or even the wind. So having the awning that completely wraps around and keeps us out of the sun when it's super hot or out of the rain when it is pissing down means that we can still kind of cook as per normal, not have to worry about it. We can still sit outside, no issues at all. Our favorite part about this awning is probably the fact that it literally takes about 30 seconds from when you unzip it, walk it all the way around the car, quickly tie it off, and then it's all set. Now the one thing that we really wanted to make sure of any awning that we were kind of getting is we didn't have to have poles or tie it down on each corner of it or anything like that, because it just takes too long to set up, or if it's too windy then it just gets difficult. The fact that it is completely freestanding and it supports itself without any poles or ropes or anything like that, it just kind of means that you have to take it down if the wind's getting above 40 kilometers or roughly around there, especially gusts, because it can just come up with no supports pulling it down. Now if it is windy, we can just tie it down. We've got some pegs and some rope that comes with it, so we can secure it. But for what we are using it most for, and for hopefully where we're going weather-wise, we don't need any of that. No, not everything's floating on our roof. We have a 3/4 size Rhino rack platform that we've got up top, and then we also have a little Rhino rack roof bar at the front. That's just to mount the solar panel. I also wanted the solar panel on an angle, as the front of Defenders, the roof angles down a little bit, so that kind of just hides it a little bit and hopefully it makes it a bit more aerodynamic. It might look like we have quite a lot of stuff on our roof, but we don't actually have that much weight. We wanted to keep it as light as possible, otherwise we realistically wouldn't even be able to push the roof up. So what we've got in our 95 litre storage box are items like our snorkel set, we've got a backpack, we've got some hiking gear in there, but it's all very light gear. Now the only other thing that's up there really is the little 4 legs that are on top of the storage box. That's just for our Starlink, so then when we are camped up places, the Starlink's as high as possible, it's not on the floor, and it just makes it super easy for us to kind of know it's there and it doesn't get in the way of anything.
Now that you've seen inside of the truck though, what's next?
It's safe to say we're definitely not going to be stopping YouTube now. That's only the beginning. We just had to address, you know, the build itself and everything else to do with it. Otherwise people will probably be asking a lot of questions. So from now on, we're basically going to be documenting everything we're doing along our travels and
doing van life as well. I think that was our biggest thing. When we were looking into doing van life and DigiNomad, we really found it hard to find channels or accounts that cover both sides.
Yeah,
so we want to make sure that we're doing that in our content and showing the good and the bad sides. If you have those seen accounts that do cover both, please drop them below for us, because
we always want to know more. So please let us know.
It's good to kind of address these things early on rather than us learning from our mistakes.
Yes.
But that's one thing that we really want to cover with our channel, so you'll definitely see a lot of meltdowns.
Yes. I've already had quite a lot of people asking how much this thing costs and you know what's involved if they were going to do it. So we're going to do either a separate video or even in the description below we've got like a link that, you know, it'll break down what the costs were involved for us to do this.
And make it nice and easy for everybody. So we've kind of been able to put our skill set together for our build, which has been awesome. When we do drop the link below of how much everything costs, that might not be exactly what we paid.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously are working with brands for this build, but if you were going to do it yourself, it would obviously show a pretty good, you know, representation on what it'll cost you to get the exact same thing.
And by all means, this is not a walking, talking contra deal. Like, we paid for 90% of Riley, and
we did.
it's...
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
But yeah, we just wanted to disclose that. We will obviously let you know who we've done work for, and if we do like sponsored content, we'll be sharing that as well.
Obviously, we are very much in the learning phase of all of this. So please, yes, please be kind. And you're going to hopefully see us grow a lot in a short amount of time because we want to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. So strap on in because we're about to give this lap a good crack.
Yeah, bloody oath.
If you made it this far, thank you for watching.
Yes, we would appreciate a cheeky sub, a like.
Oh! Or
even get on our Instagram because we're going to be posting a hell of a lot more on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What he said then.
So yeah, thanks for sticking along this long, and
we're so excited to show you what's next.
Yeah, we are,
and we will see you in the next one.
We'll see you soon, hopefully.